Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels. We are going back to that horrible world known as the JRC. But before we do, the usual disclaimers, as always. If you are unfamiliar with the Stop the Shocks campaign or the campaign against the troubled teen industry, you're going to find all the pertinent links right there in the description box. Please, in particular, take note of the article written by NeuroClastic, a small non-for-profit started by autistics for autistics. In it, they interviewed over 800 ABA professionals in regards to the JRC's so-called Behavior Modification Program. The Judge Rotenberg Educational Center doesn't want you to read that article so much. They threatened NeuroClastic with a defamation lawsuit. They did not remove it from the website. NeuroClastic refused, so you know the drill. Please read the article. Share on all your social media. Also included is NeuroClastic's public statement in regards to the defamation lawsuit threat, as well as a link to their GoFundMe. We are crowdfunding just in case the JRC ever actually does see through with their threat. Trigger warning 1. When we discuss places like the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center or Agape Boarding School for Boys, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips or surveillance footage of people with mental health issues and disabled people being tortured and abused. If you got young children present, please make sure to go ahead and use the headphones. Trigger warning 2, this channel is marked not for kids for a reason. We use profanity on occasion. We do speak on dark subjects. If your child is 16 and younger and they're watching this, very obviously parental supervision is very much advised. Alright. Now, brief interlude into what has become political absolute madness of the last several weeks. At this point, I have whiplash. Every time I blink, something's changing. Okay? I think within the last few weeks, from what I've been seeing in the news, it has just brought even more home to me that all this discord, the violence, the threats between one and the other, this is what you get when you allowed the extremists, both the extreme right and the extreme left, to take your government hostage. We are in a situation where logic and reason and facts and none of it matters. It's all about emotions and knee-jerk reactions to everything. Everything. Okay? Literally everything. When you have that going on and decisions are no longer being made based off of the facts, the information at hand by reasonable people who have objective, decent judgment, this is what you get. Mob rule. It's not what I signed up for. It's not what my ancestors, remember, daughter of the revolution, fought and bled the ground for. Okay? You read any of the founding fathers, any of them. It was about the rule of law, the rule of logic. You know what I'm saying here? Extremists, whether left or right, that's what they are. They're called extremists for a reason. To provoke violence, to provoke conflict. And the media just pours gasoline on the flames because that brings them revenue, that brings them clicks, that gets them notoriety or in notoriety, as it were. It's how we got here, folks. And those of us few who are centrists, who do make decisions based off of logic, reason and, God forbid, track records have been pummeled by both sides for decades. We are called cowards simply because we refused to react in a way that they approve of. Okay? But things are never going to calm down until we wrest back control from these people who are pursuing agendas left or right. Okay? Until that happens, this is just going to continue to escalate and build and build. You all know it's true. All right? When the rule of law, the rule of reason and logic are thrown out the window, the only thing that's left is anarchy. Mob rule. All right? Sorry, not sorry. And I do want to talk about the Olympics opening. The reason why the Christians are upset is because it looks like the Last Supper. That's not a mistake, folks. An artist, I believe it's an Italian artist, was inspired by Da Vinci's painting of the Last Supper. And using a similar motif, applied that to the Greek gods. It's apparently a very famous painting. Not one I've seen before, but now that I've looked up the facts to back it up, yes, that's exactly what it is. That's why what you saw at the Olympics resembles it. They were recreating the painting of that Italian painter who used the exact same types of motifs and themes for that pagan feast painting as was used in the Last Supper. Okay? It's very explainable if we can take out our knee-jerk reaction to everything to go to the internet and look at it. All right? Some of the most Christian eras in our history, particularly out in Europe, also had plenty of Renaissance painters that were painting pagan scenes. Folks from the 16, 17, and 1800s were highly inspired by these paintings and continued the tradition. Okay? We got to get away from this idea that everything is an attack. All right? It took me all of 2 seconds to find out through research the reason why it resembled the Last Supper. That painting was not done in mockery of what Da Vinci did. It was done, well, you know what they say, imitation is the highest form of flattery. Yeah. Okay. The more you fland, you got to understand extremists fuel one another. What do I mean by that? That means the more people who are going to start screaming that, France is going to the devil, the more people on the left are going to start screaming. And everybody's emotionally reacting. Nobody's thinking straight. That's my point. All right? I say this as a person of actual faith. I'm no coward. I'm a lot of things, but a coward is not one of them. I simply refuse to react to anything at all, as a knee-jerk emotional reaction. Because emotional reaction and emotional decisions, the very few times in my life that I've given in to that, is when my life got, pardon my French, forgive me folks, we curse on this channel, when my life got like pretty damn fucked up. Alright? That is my piece on the matter. We gotta take our heads out of our own ass, realize that not everything is about us and not everything is a damn attack, and actually start researching things for the love of God before we open our mouths. All right, now to the comment, folks. All right, comment 45, you know the drill, prepare yourselves for the stupid. Behavioral therapists comment that the state-of-art treatments such as PBS can prevent the recurrence of SIB or AB because they address the underlying causes of SIB and AB and the communicative needs of patients, unlike ESDs. Good. Somebody who has a comment that has reason and sense. It's becoming a rarer commodity every day, folks. That's why I'm on Team Comet 2024, because we've had a good run, but it's time for a reboot. You know? It's like finding a unicorn. That's pretty self-explanatory here. We can prove through the data, unequivocally, you know, that wonderful thing that Paul over there likes called math, logic, and data tells us that that is correct. It's 100% correct. That people as quote unquote severe as those at the JRC have had successful outcomes without having, you know, torture being visited upon them. Okay? This is not just some fantasy we're pulling out of our heads. It's not a theory. It's what the numbers say. All right? There's kind of no argument there. And if you think there is, I take you back to the drawing board of over 100 videos done on this channel that I can show you why there are other things out there other than violence that work in regards to self-injurious behavior. Okay? We're tired, folks, if you could tell. We're going to go into the response a little bit because that was a relatively quick comment from somebody with some sanity. There's really not much I have to argue against that. Response. FDA agrees that the state-of-art interventions such as PBS, and I'm going to say it again for the billionth time because I'm getting really tired of them improperly using that term. I gotta say it again. I'm sorry. I know it's a broken record. Positive behavioral supports is an umbrella term, nothing more. It is not a plan and treatment program in and of itself. It is a term that acts as an umbrella for the various different types of positive behavioral support type programs that are the actual treatment programs. Quit using these words synonymously. They're not the same thing. Ugh. I'm sorry. Makes me want to twitch. Generally successful because, unlike ESDs, they address the underlying causes of SIB or AB. But let me dig into ABA just a little bit. There's a big problem here, folks. Finding the underlying cause, 100% important. ABA says they're treating the underlying causes, but they're not. Because they assume and are taught that the underlying causes is attention seeking, it's manipulating, it's trying to elevate us to our peers, which if we look at things on the face of them, that's absolutely nonsensical. None of us are going to have a meltdown in the middle of the classroom because we think it's going to get us friends. Okay? It's this underlying idea built within it that there is some kind of agenda we're pursuing. Because they're thinking from the point of view of a neurotypical. Okay? They can't seem to wrap their brains around this idea that there is no agenda. I am overwhelmed. I had a meltdown. You think I want people's attention during that time? When I start stimming, do you think I want everybody in Springfield's eyeballs on me? And that's why I'm doing it, to get attention? No, Karen, no. We were the kids in class that wanted the earth to swallow us whole so that we didn't have people staring and jeering at us anymore. Okay? The last thing we wanted was to get noticed, because when we got noticed in school, we would get picked on and bullied within an inch of our lives. So if you're going to look for underlying causes that cause the behavior, really look for the underlying causes that are causing the behavior. And stop listening to these doctors who tell you to dismiss whatever your autistic kid is telling you. Contrary to popular belief, we do know ourselves. We are overanalyzers, folks. We overanalyze our own selves every single second of every day. Okay? Yeah, sorry. As we explained in the proposed rule, one goal of state-of-the-art approaches such as positive behavioral reinforcement, I'm just going to start reading it because, God, I'm getting tired, is to teach new behaviors that actively displace undesirable behaviors. By teaching individuals to express themselves with behavioral substitutions that will not cause harm to themselves or others. And explain to me why you all feel need to eradicate the stimming, or why you want to force us to stare you in the eye. You don't care that it is physically painful in our heads to do so. You don't care about the fact that because we now have to focus at looking you in the eye, well, guess what happens when you force that? You're going to get weirded out, because then we're going to keep staring you in the eyes without blinking. Because that's what was demanded of us. And then when you say, do you understand? Tell me that you understand what I just said. I didn't hear a damn word you just said. You're forcing me to do something that is against my nature, that causes physical pain. And then I'm supposed to report to you what you just said. Right? Let us not throw stones at glass houses here, shall we? For example, functional communication training as one element in an intervention examines the communicative intent of the problem behaviors, what the individual is trying to communicate or obtain from others. Here we go again. Neurotypicals, hear me when I say this. Not everything's about you. Okay? Well, surely it's frustration for you're trying to communicate or obtain something from me. I may be trying to communicate something to you, yes. That doesn't mean I'm trying to obtain something for you or trying to manipulate you. Can we please stop? Please. For the love of God. All right? There has been a shift toward prevention in recent years. Structured environment and schedule, support services at school, and prevention of SIB and AB is considered the best practice, particularly for those with intellectual and developmental disabilities. So even though I went on the attack here, I did so for a reason. First off, in one of my previous lives where I discussed the updates of the JRC, I received a YouTube strike on my channel. And I was told that I was giving medical misinformation. Now, folks, everything I report to you is researched within an inch of its life. Okay? Within an inch of its life. What a strike like that can come from is when you dare to take on ABA and its deficiencies. You see, the medical model has been trying to force it down the gullet of the breast of planet Earth for decades. It is considered, but it's absolutely true, and it's the best treatment. They don't like us coming on around and showing people where all the failings are. And so what are they going to say? It is the gold standard, and this is medical misinformation. Oh, maybe it's not as severe as we thought it was, but it stands. You're not allowed to have a legitimate argument against a particular treatment program, even when doing so is for the betterment of everybody else that shares my own diagnosis. Okay? There is no ABA light. They are still doing the exact same things. The only thing they have removed is physical aversives, and they've tried more flowery language. Typical neurotypicals. We're going to go ahead and close on that, folks. We don't get very many views on this channel, and the few we do tend to get removed from time to time. You know the drill. Please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe, and don't forget to hit the comments. I appreciate your time, and as always, folks, we here at Spilling Tea do hope you have a good one. I'll see you all next time here in a few minutes. Bye-bye, everyone.